When the machines roared back to life at the long-abandoned quarry, no one expected anything unusual. The place had been untouched for over 2 decades, just dust, stone, and a job waiting to be done. But everything changed the moment an excavation crane struck something metallic buried deep below. Before we dive into what happened, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss another story like this one. The crew arrived early Monday morning. The sun hadn't yet risen, and the remote quarry was wrapped in a still silence. Carl and his team were tasked with stripping away 25 years of overgrowth and debris. The job seemed straightforward. Clear out the site and expand the quarry by over 100 feet to meet the growing demand for stone in the booming housing market. Using heavy machinery and modern tools, the team cleared the loose debris within 2 days. Spirits were high. The contract meant job security for months to come. But on the third day, things took a sharp turn. While deepening one of the quarry walls, the crane struck something solid, something that didn't belong. A deafening screech echoed through the canyon, jolting the crew. They rushed to the site, expecting a damaged drill bit or buried equipment. Instead, they found a strange metallic glint embedded in the rock. They began digging around it with shovels, revealing more and more of the object. It was nearly 5 feet wide and at least 6 feet deep. "Looks like a vault," one crew member joked. But as they cleared more of the dirt, it became obvious. This wasn't a safe, and it wasn't just debris. The object had doors, real doors. Carl, who was older and had seen more than his share of oddities, didn't hesitate. He grabbed one of the handles and pulled. It opened easily. Inside was a small chamber with an entrance and an exit. Carl stepped through. On the other side, embedded in the rock wall, was a round tunnel opening, perfectly smooth and unmistakably man-made. "It's a tunnel," someone whispered. Carl took a deep breath and nodded. "We're going in." The air inside was thick with dust and cobwebs, but the tunnel's walls were smooth, unnaturally clean-cut. Whoever made this knew what they were doing, or maintained it, for years. They hadn't gone far when a haunting cry echoed down the passage. The team froze. Their flashlights trembled. Fear swept through them like a wave. One of the younger workers, Mark, turned back, unable to continue. A few others followed, terrified. Carl didn't stop them. He understood. Fear in a place like this was dangerous. Only 6 remained. Carl and 5 others pushed forward. As they went deeper, the tunnel changed, narrower, darker, with strange colored symbols painted on the wooden beams. The eerie sound returned, this time almost melodic, as though something was calling to them. They crawled through a narrow gap and found themselves inside a vast underground chamber. Ancient tools leaned against stone walls etched with carvings. It was a hidden, subterranean world, forgotten and preserved by time. Carl spotted a symbol on one of the tools. It looked familiar, but he couldn't place it. Before he could investigate further, the sound of footsteps echoed from deeper within. They ducked behind boulders as a group of elderly men emerged, wearing worn-out work clothes. None appeared younger than 60. One carried an old oil lantern that creaked and whined as he walked, the same sound they'd heard earlier. The old men went about their business, lighting lanterns placed around the room. Makeshift beds lined the walls, fashioned from mining carts and scrap metal, but a muffled gasp from one of Carl's crew gave them away. One of the old men turned. "Who's there?" he called out. Carl motioned to stay hidden, but it was too late. The man approached slowly, peering into the shadows. Carl and his crew bolted, racing back toward the tunnel. But before they reached the first bend, the old man's voice echoed after them. "Stop! We mean you no harm." Carl hesitated. The man's voice wasn't angry. It was calm, even kind. He turned back and saw the man standing alone, lantern in hand. "We came here to find answers," Carl said to his crew. "Let's hear what they have to say." They returned. The chamber was quiet again. The old man stepped forward. "My name is John," he said, extending his hand. Carl introduced himself and explained how they'd uncovered the tunnel. As John listened, his expression changed. The others rose from their makeshift beds, alarmed. "After all these years," John whispered, tears forming in his eyes. He told them their story. They were miners, once part of the crew that operated this very quarry decades ago. During a routine dig, a powerful earthquake struck. collapsing the tunnels and trapping them underground. They were presumed dead. "We tried to dig out," John said, "but the risk of further collapse was too high. We survived on rations meant for a full crew stretched over years. 8 men forgotten by the world, surviving in darkness for over 30 years. Carl was stunned, but now there was hope. "The way out is open," he said. "We can take you to the surface." John's eyes widened. The others stared in disbelief. "Are you serious?" Carl nodded. "Let's go home." With Carl's help, the miners were brought out, one by one, into the daylight for the first time in decades. They were rushed to the hospital for treatment and observation. News of the miraculous rescue spread fast. The emotional reunions with long-lost families made headlines. Carl and his team were hailed as heroes, appearing on national news to recount their unbelievable discovery. "We came to restart a quarry," Carl said. "We ended up saving lives." The mine was permanently sealed, a plaque installed to honor the survivors. Months later, the quarry reopened. But now it wasn't just a job site. It was the setting of a story no one would ever forget. Before we go any deeper into this mystery, take a moment to support the show. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a story like this one. Got theories or questions about what's down that tunnel? Drop a comment below. We read everyone. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, follow, rate, and review. It really helps more listeners discover these hidden stories.